Hey coin hunters, in this video, we're breaking down the top 5 most valuable modern Australian 10-cent error coins, showing you exactly what to hunt for, real sale prices, and how you could find one yourself. Don't skip this. Your next coffee change might just change your life. Let's dive in. The 1976 Australian 10-cent coin. It's the mid-1970s in Australia. The country is buzzing with post-decimal currency vibes. It's been a full decade since we switched from pounds and shillings to dollars and cents in 1966. Inflation is creeping up, the world is celebrating America's bicentennial, and everyday Aussies are spending coins featuring Queen Elizabeth II without a second thought. That's the era when over 57 million of these 1976 10-cent coins were struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. That's a huge mintage, making it one of the more common dates in the series, but that doesn't mean they're all worthless. Far from it. Let's break down the design first, because it's pure Australian artistry. On the obverse, you've got the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. She's wearing a tiara, looking regal as always, with the inscription Elizabeth II Australia 1976 circling around her. This second portrait was used from 1966 right through to 1984, so it's super familiar to anyone who grew up in that time. Flip it over to the reverse, and here's where the magic happens. The superb Lyrebird, masterfully crafted by renowned designer Stuart Devlin. The Lyrebird is shown in full display, tail feathers fanned out dramatically over its head, almost like it's performing just for you. Above the bird's head is the bold numeral 10, and down near its foot, you'll spot Devlin's tiny initials SD. The Lyrebird isn't just pretty, it's a symbol of Australia's unique wildlife. These birds are incredible mimics, copying everything from chainsaws to camera shutters in the wild. Devlin chose native animals for all the original decimal reverses, and the Lyrebird has stayed on the 10-cent coin ever since. No changes, even after 50-plus years. The coin itself is made of cupronickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that silvery shine. It's 23.6 millimeters in diameter, weighs 5.65 grams, and has a reeded edge for easy grip. Back in 1976, these were rolling out of the mint in massive numbers to keep up with circulation demand. Proof versions were also made for collectors, about 21,000 in the annual proof sets, and a few thousand in uncirculated mint sets. But the bulk were for everyday use, paying for lollies, bus fares, or a cold drink on a hot summer day. Now, let's talk value for the standard circulated 1976 10-cent coin. If you've got one that's been through the wars, scratched, worn, maybe a bit dirty, it's probably worth just face value, around 10 to 20 cents to a collector who needs it for a set. In better condition, like fine or very fine, you're looking at 50 cents to $1. Uncirculated examples, straight from mint rolls or sets, can fetch a few dollars, maybe $5 to $10 if it's really lustrous with no marks. Proof coins from the sets go for $10 to $20 typically. These aren't going to make you rich overnight, but they're fun to collect, especially if you're building a date run of 10-cent coins. But here's where it gets exciting. Not all 1976 10 cents are created equal. Minting errors and varieties can skyrocket the value. The Royal Australian Mint was pumping out millions of coins, and occasionally, things went wrong in the pressing process. We're talking off-center strikes, where the design is shifted, making part of the coin blank, or clipped planchets, where the metal blank was cut irregularly, leaving a straight or curved clip on the edge. Die cracks can appear as raised lines across the Queen's face or the Lyrebird's feathers. And then there are more dramatic ones, like split planchets, where the coin literally splits into layers due to impurities in the metal or filled dies, causing missing details. One particularly cool error from around this era is the struck-on split planchet, where the coin was minted after the blank had already begun to separate, creating a dramatic clamshell effect. These errors escaped quality control and ended up in circulation, waiting decades to be discovered. Collectors love them because they're unique, one-of-a-kind mistakes from the mint. If you're checking your coins, grab a magnifying glass. Look for anything unusual. Double strikes, overlapping images, broad strikes, larger than normal with no reading, or even wrong planchet errors if a blank meant for another denomination snuck in. While major mules like the famous $2,000 1/10C are from later years, 1970s errors still pop up and command premiums. So, how much could a rare error 1976 10-cent be worth? It depends on the severity and condition, but nice off-centers or clips might go for $50 to $200. More extreme examples, like significant splits or double strikes, can push into the hundreds or even thousands at auction. And speaking of jaw-dropping values, there was one extraordinary 1976 10-cent error that stunned the collecting world when it sold for $62,300. Finally, the big question: should you hunt for these in your change or old jars? Absolutely. Start by sorting any pre-1980s 10 cents, especially 1976. Clean them gently if needed, but never harshly. Value drops with damage. Check online catalogs like Namisto or Coins and Australia for comparisons, or join coin forums to share photos. If you think you've got a winner, get it graded by PCGS or NGC for authentication. Next up, the 2002 10-cent coin. That classic piece with the majestic Lyrebird that's been jingling in pockets since the early 2000s. You might think it's just another common dime, but hang on, because some of these could be packing way more value than you imagine. We're talking history, design details, minting facts, typical worth, and those elusive errors that make collectors go wild. Grab your coin jar, a loop if you've got one, and let's explore why the 2002 10C deserves a closer look. Fast forward to the new millennium. It's 2002. Australia is riding high after hosting the Sydney Olympics. The nation is celebrating the year of the Outback with special dollars, and the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra is cranking out coins like never before. That year, they struck a whopping 70 million plus circulation 10-cent coins to meet demand. Add in thousands more for uncirculated sets, baby sets, and proofs, and you've got a date that's far from rare in standard form. But in the world of numismatics, quantity doesn't always mean zero value, especially when errors sneak through. Let's appreciate the timeless design that makes this coin so recognizable. On the obverse, we have the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by British sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. Introduced in 1999, this more mature depiction shows Her Majesty wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with elegant lettering reading, Elizabeth II Australia 2002. The initials IRB are tucked under the neckline, a subtle signature from the artist. Turn it over, and you're greeted by Stuart Devlin's masterpiece, the superb Lyrebird in full courtship display. Tail feathers arched dramatically, body poised, with the bold 10 above and Devlin's SD initials near the base. This reverse has been unchanged since decimalization in 1966, symbolizing Australia's rich biodiversity. Lyrebirds are famous imitators in the bush, mimicking everything from other birds to human sounds. A fitting emblem for a coin that's all about precision, yet occasionally full of surprises. Specs-wise, it's cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, 23.6 millimeters across, 5.65 grams heavy, with a reeded edge to prevent counterfeiting back in the day. In 2002, most were minted for circulation, but collectors could snag brilliant uncirculated versions in annual sets or proof quality with frosted details and mirror fields. For the everyday circulated 2210 see you've probably got rolling around, worn from years of transactions. It's typically worth face value or a tad more to someone filling album holes, say 20 to 50 cents. Nicer very fine or extremely fine examples might hit $1 or $2. Fresh uncirculated coins from rolls or sets, around $3 to $8, depending on luster and no contact marks. Proofs from the year sets usually trade for $10 to $25. Not life-changing, but great for building a complete Lyrebird series without breaking the bank. The real thrill comes from minting mistakes, those happy accidents that turn ordinary into extraordinary. With millions flying off the presses, the occasional glitch happened. Off-center strikes leaving blank crescents, clipped planchets from imperfectly cut blanks creating straight or curved edges, die cracks spidering across the queen or bird, or broad strikes spreading the design wider with smooth edges. Particularly intriguing from 2002 are misstrikes, like ones shifted 10% or more off-center, sometimes lacking full reading. Partial collar errors, indented strikes, or even subtle planchet flaws add uniqueness. These escaped the mint and circulated quietly for years, only to be spotted by eagle-eyed hunters decades later. To spot them, examine under good light. Check alignment, edge for irregularities, surfaces for doubles or overlaps. Wait if it feels off. Dramatic errors stand out immediately. A lyrebird half missing or queen shifted wildly. Values for these? Mild clips or minor off-centers, $20 to $100. More pronounced misstrikes or combinations, several hundred. Extreme ones, pristine and authenticated, can climb much higher in auctions. And believe it or not, one standout 2,210-cent error coin left experts speechless when it hammered for $35,000. Wrapping up, don't overlook those early 2000s 10-centers, especially 2002s. Dig through change, old piggy banks, or family collections. Compare to reliable references, handle carefully to preserve condition, and if something looks off, consult a dealer or grading service like PCGS. Next up, the 2005 Australian 10-cent coin, that familiar silver-tone piece with the elegant lyrebird that's been a staple in wallets and piggy banks across the country. At first glance, it seems like just another everyday coin, but dive a little deeper and you'll discover why some collectors are absolutely obsessed with this particular year. We'll cover its background, stunning design, production numbers, standard values, and those ultra-rare flaws that can transform it from 10 cents into a serious collector's prize. Let's jump right in. We're talking mid-2000s Australia here. Think the aftermath of the Athens Olympics buzz, the ongoing war on terror in the news, and a booming economy with plenty of coins needed for daily transactions. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was in full swing, producing a massive 116.7 million circulation strikes of the 2005 10-cent coin. That's a hefty mintage, making the regular version pretty common even today. They also minted smaller runs for uncirculated sets, baby sets, and gorgeous proof versions for enthusiasts. With so many out there, most spent years circulating, buying coffees, parking meters, or school canteen treats. The design is a true classic that hasn't changed much since decimal currency began. On the front, the obverse features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley. This mature, dignified effigy shows the Queen with her signature tiara, the girls of Great Britain and Ireland peace, and the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 2005, gracefully encircling her. You'll spot the artist's tiny IRB, initials just below the neck. This portrait debuted in 1999 and gave the coins a fresh, modern feel compared to earlier versions. Now flip to the reverse, and you're treated to Stuart Devlin's iconic superb lyrebird. Captured mid-display, with its magnificent tail feathers fanned out like a peacock's plume arching over its head. The bird looks ready to burst into song. The large 10 sits proudly above, while Devlin's SD initials hide near the base. This design, chosen back in 1966, celebrates Australia's incredible native fauna. Lyrebirds are renowned for mimicking almost any sound, from other birds to camera clicks and even chainsaws. It's a nod to our unique wilderness and has endured unchanged for decades. Technically, it's cupronickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, measuring 23.60 millimeters in diameter, weighing 5.65 grams, with a milled reeded edge for that satisfying grip. Most 2005s came from circulation strikes, but collectors could grab shiny uncirculated ones in mint sets or frosted proofs with mirror-like fields. For a typical circulated 2005 10-cent coin, the kind that's seen plenty of action, maybe toned or lightly scratched, it's usually just worth its face value, or perhaps 20 to 50 cents if someone needs it to fill a collection gap. In sharper grades, like very fine or extremely fine, you might get $1 or $2. Brilliant uncirculated pieces pulled fresh from rolls or sets often sell for $4 to $10, especially if they boast original mint luster without bag marks. Proof examples from the annual sets typically go for $15 to $30. Solid for completing a Lyrebird date set, but nothing that'll fund a holiday. That's where the excitement ramps up. Mint errors and varieties. High-volume production means occasional slip-ups, die issues, planchet problems, or striking anomalies that create one-of-a-kind pieces. Common ones include off-center strikes, design shifted, leaving blank areas, clipped planchets, irregular edges from faulty blank cutting, die cracks, raised lines across features, or broad strikes, expanded diameter without full reading. From the 2005 era, watch for rabbit ears, cuds, extra metal blobs protruding from the top of the 1 in 10 on the reverse, caused by die breaks. These are noted as very rare for 2005 specifically, making them a hot target. Other possibilities: partial collars, indented strikes, or even split planchets where the coin layers separate slightly. These rarities slipped past inspectors and entered circulation, lying dormant until spotted by sharp-eyed hunters. Use good lighting and magnification to inspect. Check for misalignment, unusual edges, extra metal, or missing details. Pricing for these varies wildly. Minor clips or small off-centers, $30 to $150. More noticeable cuds, shifts, or combined errors, a few $100s. Truly dramatic, high-grade authenticated pieces can soar into the thousands at specialist auctions. And in one breathtaking case, a remarkable 2005 10-cent error coin stunned the numismatic community when it realized $23,400. So, the takeaway? Never dismiss those mid-2000s 10-centers piling up in drawers or change jars, particularly 2005s. Sort them out. Examine closely for anything odd. Reference sites like the Royal Australian Mint Archives or collector forums, and store finds carefully to maintain condition. Suspicious? Send for professional grading. Next up, the 2007 Australian 10-cent coin. That shiny little Lyrebird piece you probably have rattling around in your car or couch cushions right now. Don't toss it aside just yet. While most are everyday spenders, this year holds some secrets that could make your eyes pop with excitement. We'll unpack the backstory, admire the artwork, chat about production, usual prices, and dive into those mind-blowing mistakes that turn 10 cents into a collector's dream. If you're into hidden gems in Aussie coins, you're in the right place. Let's roll. We're in 2007. Australia is loving the good times with a strong economy. Kevin Rudd is about to become PM, the iPhone launches worldwide, and down at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, They're busy striking around 61 million of these 10-cent coins for circulation. That's a solid number. Not super low, like some years, but enough to keep the vending machines and car parks happy. They also produced thousands more for mint sets, baby sets themed around the magic pudding, and even special proofs for serious collectors. Plenty went into pockets for buying ice creams or topping up opal cards back in the day. The beauty of this coin lies in its enduring design, unchanged on the reverse since 1966. Let's start with the obverse, the elegant fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley. This sophisticated image captures Her Majesty in her later years, adorned with the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, surrounded by Elizabeth II Australia 2007. Look closely under the bust for the tiny IRB initials. That's the artist's mark. Introduced in 1999, this portrait brought a more contemporary royal vibe to our change. Now the star of the show, the reverse. Stuart Devlin's breathtaking superb Lyrebird, posed in full magnificent display, with tail feathers sweeping overhead like a living fan. The oversized 10 dominates the top, and Devlin's SD hides discreetly near the bird's claw. This isn't just any bird. The superb Lyrebird is an Aussie icon, famous for its incredible vocal mimicry, copying chainsaws, cameras, even other animals with spooky accuracy. Devlin nailed the essence of our wildlife, and it's why this design has stuck around for generations. Composition is classic cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel for that bright silver look and durability. Diameter 23.60 millimeters. Weight 5.65 grams, with a reeded edge to foil old-school counterfeiters. Most 2007s were circulation quality, but you could get gleaming uncirculated ones in official sets or ultra-sharp proofs with deep frost and mirrors. For your average pocket-worn 2007 10C, circulated with some marks or toning, it's generally face value, or maybe 20 to 60 cents if a collector needs a type coin. In finer grades, very fine to extremely fine, perhaps $1 to $3. Mint fresh uncirculated from sets, typically $5 to $12 if the shine is popping and no scratches. Proof versions from the year or baby sets often trade around $20 to $40. Nice additions to a date collection, but not retirement fund material on their own. But the adrenaline kicks in with errors. High-speed minting means rare oops moments. Planchets cut wrong leading to clips, straight or curved missing edges. Dies cracking for raised lines snaking across the queen or bird. Off-center strikes shifting the design and leaving blank moons. Or broad strikes making the coin bigger with no reading. In the 2000s, including 2007, things like partial color errors, indented edges, double strikes, overlapping images, or even dramatic splits where the metal layers separate can appear. These quirky flaws bypass checks and hit circulation, waiting for someone like you to spot them years later. Grab a good light and magnifier. Scan for wonky centering, weird edges, doubled features, or odd weights. Standout errors are obvious. A lyrebird dancing halfway off the coin, or a clipped bite out of the rim. How much for these treasures? Subtle clips, or small shifts, $40 to $200. Bolder cuds, off-centers, or multiples, easily hundreds. Top tier, certified dramatic pieces, they can fetch serious bids in the collector market. And get this, one phenomenal 2007 10-cent error coin absolutely blew minds when it sold for $46,800. There you go, legends. The full story on the 2007 Australian 10-cent coin, from standard circulation staple to error-fueled phenomenon. Got any 2007s lurking? Pull them out. Give Emma squiz for quirks, cross-reference with mint reports or apps, and treat potentials gently. Weird one. Hit up a grader or expert. Next up, Today, as we uncover the fascinating world of the 2010 Australian 10-cent coin, this little silver-colored gem, with the proud Lyrebird, might seem like standard pocket fodder. But for those in the know, 2010 holds some intriguing possibilities that could turn your spare change into something truly special. We'll journey through its historical context, admire the exquisite details, discuss production figures, everyday values, and explore those captivating minting anomalies that drive collectors wild. If you're ready to learn why this coin deserves a spot in your search list, let's dive in. It's 2010. Australia is buzzing from the global financial recovery. The mining boom is in full swing. Julia Gillard has just become our first female Prime Minister, and the Royal Australian Mint is hard at work producing coins for a nation on the move. That year, they minted a substantial 84.9 million circulation 10-cent coins, ensuring plenty made it into tills, vending machines, and kids' money boxes. Additional runs went into uncirculated year sets, Blinky Bill-themed baby sets, and pristine proofs for dedicated numismatists. With such a large output, the standard version remains plentiful today. The design is a beloved constant in Australian coinage. On the obverse, we see the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, masterfully sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley. This thoughtful, mature likeness shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, encircled by the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 2010. The artist's discreet IRB initials appear below the truncation of the neck. Debuting in 1999, this effigy brought a sense of grace and realism to our coins during the early 21st century. Over on the reverse, Stuart Devlin's timeless superb Lyrebird takes center stage. The bird is captured in dramatic courtship pose, with its elaborate tail feathers elegantly arched overhead. The prominent 10 floats above, while Devlin's SD initials nestle subtly near the bird's foot. This design, unchanged since 1966, pays homage to one of Australia's most extraordinary creatures, the Lyrebird, renowned for its astonishing ability to mimic natural and man-made sounds with uncanny precision. Made from durable cupronickel, 75% copper, and 25% nickel, the coin measures 23.60 millimeters in diameter, weighs 5.65 grams, and features a milled reeded edge. The majority were struck for circulation, but collectors could acquire brilliant uncirculated specimens in official sets or flawless proofs, boasting sharp frosted devices against mirror fields. For a typical circulated 2010 10-cent coin, one that's traveled through countless hands, perhaps with light wear or toning, expect it to hold roughly face value, or maybe 20 to 60 cents if a date collector is completing a folder. In higher grades like very fine or extremely fine, values creep up to $1 or $3. Pristine uncirculated coins fresh from mint packaging often sell for $5 to $15, particularly if they retain full original luster without marks. Proof issues from sets generally range from $20 to $45. These make affordable additions to any Lyrebird series collection. Now, comes the fun part. Mint errors. Despite modern technology, massive production runs, like 2010s, can occasionally produce fascinating flaws. Think off-center strikes where the design slides toward one edge, leaving a blank crescent. Clipped planchets with straight or curved missing sections from imperfect blank cutting. Die cracks forming intriguing raised lines. Or broad strikes resulting in oversized coins lacking reading. Other possibilities include partial collar errors, creating indented rims, double or multiple strikes with overlapping images, or even planchet laminations where the metal begins to delaminate. These imperfections slipped through inspections and entered circulation, only to be discovered years later by attentive searchers. To identify them, use bright lighting and a loupe. Look for poor centering, irregular edges, ghosting from doubles, or unusual thickness. The most striking errors are immediately eye-catching. Imagine a lyrebird partially vanished off the planchet. Values depend on the error's drama and the coin's condition. Mild examples like small clips or minor shifts, $30 to $150. More impressive cuds, significant off-centers, or compound errors, several $100s. Exceptional, graded specimens with severe anomalies can command far higher prices from eager bidders. And in one unforgettable auction, a truly exceptional 2010 10-cent error coin achieved an astonishing $19,000. So what's the verdict? Absolutely worth checking those later-date 10 cents, especially from 2010. Raid your change jars, old wallets, or inherited collections. Inspect carefully for anything out of the ordinary. Consult reliable resources like mint reports or numismatic sites, and always handle potentials with care to preserve their state. If you spot a standout, consider professional authentication and grading. That's everything you need to know about the 2010 Australian 10-cent coin, a modern classic with hidden potential. Have you come across any unusual 2010s? Share your photos or experiences in the comments. If this has you eager to sort your coins, drop a like, subscribe for more in-depth Australian coin features, and hit the notification bell. Happy hunting! Your next valuable discovery could be waiting. See you next time.